Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly session on Bhagavad Gita. We are picking up topics from Bhagavad Gita and we are trying to discuss them in detail. As most of you are aware, we completed 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita in 18 sessions, and then now we are going in detail. We are going in detail while while we are not following a particular flow, but as the topics arise in the Bhagavad Gita, as they are popping up, we will try to pick them up and discuss from our practicality point of view. One such topic that we will cover today is about humility and surrender. If you all remember, कर्पण्य दोषोपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढ़ चेता यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्ते अहम शाधिमात्मं प्रपन्नम. ये प्रपन्नम इज सरेंडर. ये अर्जुन जो सातवें श्लोक में दूसरे अध्याय के सातवें श्लोक में भगवान को शरण जाते हैं, भगवान की शरणागति ले लेते हैं और भगवान को कहते हैं कि मैं आपका शिष्य बनता हूँ, आप मेरे गुरु बनिए और मुझे मार्गदर्शन कीजिए, मुझे बताइए कि मुझे इस समय क्या करना चाहिए, ये सिचुएशन में मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. And those who have knowledge, only they can become confused about the duty, which is the higher duty. Those who have no knowledge, often there is no confusion, they just do it the wrong, yeah, because they have unable to distinguish between right and wrong. उनको पता ही नहीं क्या सही है क्या right गलत है. इस समय में जो बॉडीली इंस्टिंक्ट उनको बोलते हैं वो करते रहते हैं, सो उन लोगों को समस्या नहीं होती है, उनको कोई कंफ्यूजन ही नहीं होता है, बिकॉज दे एक्ट लाइक एनिमल्स. जैसे एनिमल को भूख लगी है तो वो जाके खाएगा, बट अगर इंसान को भूख लगी है तो वो सोचेगा कि ये खाने योग्य है कि नहीं, ये आज एकादशी तो नहीं है. इस तरह से ही विल थिंक, ही विल इफ इज एंड दैट वे ही विल he will choose, he will be able to make a decision at times. But that confusion can arise only if you are intelligent enough. For unintelligent people, dull people, animals, there is no confusion, they are simply driven by their bodily instincts. So this surrender happens at the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita. So the question is, what led Arjuna to surrender to Krishna? What led Arjuna to surrender to Krishna? Is it humility or that led him to surrender, or because he had that surrendered mood towards Krishna, he became humble? So the question is, to choose between one and two, and you can take to the chat box. And if you think he because he was humble, he could surrender, then you can choose one. But if you think no, because he was surrendered, he always had this surrendered mood, he became humble in the process. You can take to the chat box, because he had surrendered mood, he became humble. Advika, Madhuri Mataji, a lot of twos, a lot of ones also we can see. Bhavna is saying one, a few saying one, because uh, he was humble, because he had humility, he could surrender. I think some very few people are open uh, on this, but most of you are opting for option two. Okay, very nice. Should have taken a poll, we could have got a good percentage. But yeah, let's park this question for the time being. So we are trying to understand what comes first, and the humility comes first or surrender mood comes first, and how in practicality how it all happens. So let's park this and go little away from Bhagavad Gita. We are going to jump into Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a biography, life story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? We'll soon find out. But it's a narration, and Srila Prabhupada took great effort in translating that Chaitanya Charitamrita into English. So by His mercy, it's now available to all of us in English and Hindi and all other Indian languages, as well as all other languages in the world as well. Many other languages in the world that Chaitanya Charitamrita is now available. So let's take the look at the background of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let's park. What we have done is, we've introduced the topic that humility and surrender is the topic that we are going to discuss, and we spoke that where is the reference in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita seventh verse, Arjuna actually surrenders to Krishna, and we then dwelled on a question that because he was humble, he surrendered, or because he had that surrendered mood, he was humble. So a lot of majority of you, I think, opted for two, and we said we'll park that question, and we will jump into understanding a little bit about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the 7.28 verse, Krishna demands full purification. Now, this is a verse from Bhagavad Gita 7.28. Krishna says that people who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are free from all dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So, who can become a pakka कृष्णा डिवोटी कृष्णा says ये बंदा जिसने द वन हु हैज एक्टेड पायसली इन दिस लाइफ एज वेल एज इन ऑल हिज प्रीवियस लाइफ्स. हमें तो इस लाइफ का ढंग से पता नहीं है, और इस लाइफ का पता है कि हम पायस नहीं है, तो व्हाट टू स्पीक अबाउट प्रीवियस लाइफ, हम तो कुछ भी हो सकते हैं. सो दैट इज वन. सेकंड, सिंफुल रिएक्शंस आर कंप्लीटली इरेडिकेटेड. नाउ दिस इज if और वी गेट अ बॉडी, हमें एक शरीर मिलता है, टाइप ऑफ बॉडी वी गेट एंड टाइप ऑफ circumstances that we get in which we either enjoy or suffer. All of you are in different stages of life. Some of you could be students, some of you could be youth people waiting to just get married, some of you could be married having families, and some of us could be old. But we are all suffering and enjoying something during the day. From morning, from the moment we wake up, we thank God, we thank him for giving us another beautiful day. And if we are pious, we are spiritually minded oriented person, we will wake up early in the morning, we'll chant, we will read Krishna, we'll cook some bhoga, offer it to Krishna, we will talk to devotees, help some devotees, go out for book distribution. These are the spiritual life. But apart from that, those who are not living this life, for them also the days are not completely bad. Some of them can have family get together, some of them go out for picnics with friends, some of them can have their promotion celebrations or childbirth celebration, this celebration, that celebration, something or the other, people seems to enjoy. And then we know they enjoy because they put their pictures on the Facebook and other social media platforms. So they make sure that they enjoy, and then they make sure that they tell everybody that they enjoyed. And we also suffer, right from corona to till date. We have not forgotten corona, how horrible those days were. And every now and then our loved one pass away. We all get caught with some injury, some sickness here and there. And as days, as the age progresses, our hair become gray, then hair grows, then we apply some cream to make our skin look young, so on and so forth. So many problems keep popping up from here, from there, and we try to deal with them. So for sure, we are not free from all our reactions. So we are not pious even in this life. What to speak of previous lives? We are not fully pious even in this life. What to speak of previous lives? And we are also having our own bunch of sinful reactions, which are available for our enjoyment and our sufferings. So there, Krishna says, then such people, then we kind of become disqualified to be in service of Krishna with determination. We are unable to. Krishna says such people, those who have all this baggage with them, they will not be able to worship me with determination. They will not be able to become my pure devotees. So this is one problem that we have from Bhagavad Gita. Another problem is 18.66 verse, where Krishna says that Sarva Dharman Parityajya. He is demanding full surrender. He does not want us to hold anything back with us. Now that stage can come at a very advanced progression of a spiritual life. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. ये बोलने के लिए बहुत अच्छा है, but we still have our own our own anchors. हमारा इंश्योरेंस होता है, हमारा हमें लगता है कि हम दिक्कत में आएंगे तो हमारा बैंक बैलेंस हमारा हेल्प करेगा, हमारे रिलेटिव्स हमारी हेल्प करेंगे, मेरा बेटा, मेरी बेटी, मेरे माय पेरेंट्स विल हेल्प मी, माय अंकल विल हेल्प मी, some influential friend of ours, he will help me if I get into a problem. एक फोन कर लेगा तो ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा, जानता नहीं मेरा फ्रेंड कौन है, मेरा काका कौन है, मेरा मामा कौन है. एंड सो वी हैव शेल्टर्स, we have multiple shelters other than Krishna, and we just can't give those up. We think in an immediate basis at least वो लोग help करेंगे. Maybe if they all fail, I will pray to Krishna, now you help. But we are not at the stage where we can confidently say that I have abandoned all varieties of religion. सर्व धर्मान परित्यज्य मैंने कर लिया है. So so Krishna says again, only those people, Krishna says, I can deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So teachings of Bhagavad Gita concludes that Krishna demand full purification and full surrender before he can start acting. And another verse, beautiful verse, section from Bhagavatam introduction में ये लिखा है कि in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is depicted as the absolute personality of Godhead, and his last teaching is that in that great book of transcendental knowledge, instruct one should give up all modes of religious activities and accept him, Sri Krishna, as the only worshipable Lord. The Lord then assured that all his devotees would be protected from all sorts of sinful act, and that for them there would be no cause of anxiety. Thus, the teaching of Bhagavad Gita was misinterpreted even by the great scholars. After the disappearance of Lord Krishna, there were hundreds of commentaries on Bhagavad Gita by many erudite scholars, and almost every one of them motivated by self interest. So, Bhagavad Gita knowledge commentaries itself became polluted, itself became driven by personal interest. So people, those who were reading Bhagavad Gita, were not able to come to the conclusion that they need to surrender to Krishna. So Krishna actually was thinking in Golok Dham, in his home. Krishna is thinking like this. Chaitanya Charitamrita is considered to be a doctorate level study. Bhagavad Gita, if जो मैट्रिकुलेट स्टडी है, भागवतम इज अ ग्रेजुएशन स्टडी, एंड देन चैतन्य चरितामृत इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द पीएचडी स्टडी, पीएचडी लेवल स्टडी. क्यों? बिकॉज भगवद गीता गिव्स द बेसिक लॉ, बेसिक रूल्स, बेसिक द जैसे एक्ट होता है, बेयर एक्ट होता है. भगवद गीता इज लाइक दैट, इज अ बुक ऑफ फिलोसफी. इट टेल्स यू कृष्णा इज सुप्रीम पर्सनालिटी ऑफ गॉड हेड, एंड यूर role of every jiva is to love and serve Krishna, become devotee of Krishna, do everything with connection with Krishna, which is great. But for us, how do we practically apply it? So those are examples are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, where there is a lot of interaction between devotee and Lord are mentioned by way of case studies. Dhruva Maharaj case study, Prahlad Maharaj case study, Vritrasur case study. There are hundreds of Bharat Maharaj case study. Ram and many avatars of Lord are described, and many wonderful activities performed by Lord are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered to be like a graduation level study. But again, those interactions are very sweet and very nectarian, but they do not give what goes inside Lord's mind. Now, Krishna is a person. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person. We we didn't originated from light. We, he has a form. He has a mind of his own. Now, what does Krishna think when he is not doing anything? What is it he must be thinking? अगर हमके हमें ये इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए तो ये भी भागवत में अवेलेबल नहीं है पूरी. इसके लिए वी हैव चैतन्य चरितमृत. So Chaitanya Charitamrita goes behind Lord Krishna's mind. It tell us this is what Krishna is thinking that everywhere people worship me by following regulatory principles and shastric injunctions. But he's worried that how by doing this, how will they fall in love with me? They, Krishna, wants to have loving reciprocation with all his devotees, all the living entities, all the jivas. Says if they remain at the level of Aishwarya, worshipping me in that Vaikuntha mood, how they will not get Vrajaprem. The the and knowing my and what is the problem with them? Because they know only about my opulence. They know only about my Aishwarya. They they know about my sweetness, but they are overpowered. Or their sweetness is is less, but their knowledge of my opulence is greater. Because of which they worship me with awe and reverence. But he says that this does not attract me a great deal. Because with this type of devotees, Krishna will have very formal reciprocation. He cannot have loving reciprocations. Krishna also longs to have loving reciprocation with his devotees. So therefore, how to change this? How to give Krishna bhakti, Krishna prem to all the jivas? He says, therefore I shall personally inaugurate Nam Sankirtana. By accepting a role of a devotee, I shall make the whole world dance in ecstasy. In this way, I shall teach loving devotional service by personally practicing it. Now, these are external reasons. People were finding it difficult to become Krishna's devotee even after studying Bhagavad Gita. A, because a lot of Bhagavad Gita commentaries were wrong representations. Even when right commentaries were available, people were overpowered by Aishwarya Bhav, and then they were not able to love and serve Krishna. So Krishna's thought, ki, let me become my own devotee. Let me appear in this world as my own devotee. And by personal example, let me show how to become Krishna's devotee, how to worship Krishna in the mood of in a loving way. Not just because he give me something, not just because if I don't worship him, he will take away something. That is Aishwarya, that is awe and reverence, which is good, but Krishna want loving reciprocations. So these are external reasons he wants to help all the living entities. Internal reason is again very beautiful. This again is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now Krishna want to the glory of Radharani's love for him. Krishna wants to understand the glory of Radharani's love for him. How can Radharani loves me in a selfless way? How she can be so much relentless in loving me. No matter what I do, she never stops loving me. He wants to understand how can that be? How can somebody love someone else so much in a so much selfless way? Krishna also want to understand that what wonderful qualities he himself possesses, which are relished by Radharani through her love. Krishna also doesn't know himself completely. What to speak of we knowing Krishna completely? Krishna is always expanding. Krishna is ever increasing in his qualities. He has, so his glories, Ananta Shesh has been glorifying him with his thousands and thousand hoods, and he's still not over. He's still not been able to finish the description of his qualities. So what to speak of uh, others knowing Krishna's qualities? Krishna says, I myself don't know all my qualities completely. So, and these qualities of mine are relished by Radharani through her love. And he want to understand what is in it him, what is in it him that makes him so much attractive for Radharani. कृष्ण भगवान सोचते हैं कि मुझ में ऐसा क्या है जिसके कारण मैं इतना अट्रैक्टिव हूँ राधा रानी के लिए. आई एम सच एन अट्रैक्टिव ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ राधा बिकॉज ही कंसिडर राधा रानी टू बी द सुप्रीम अट्रैक्टिव ऑब्जेक्ट. बट ही फाइंड Radharani's love for him much greater than what his love for Radharani is. Therefore, now he wants to understand what is in it him that is so attractive for Radharani. Thirdly, the happiness that Radharani experiences in his association, he says, is million time more than what happiness I derive. I am the supreme enjoyer. Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasa Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna says, I am the enjoyer of everyone. So when I associate with Radharani, I associate with an intention to enjoy. And she gives me enjoyment. But by giving me enjoyment, she's experiencing her enjoyment is million time more than what I get. Now, how is this possible? Now Krishna is wondering, and he want to taste that happiness himself. So what he does, he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appeared on Falguni Purnima, Holy Purnima that is known in the modern world. So he is Krishna himself. He is Krishna himself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, appearing in the form and mood of Radharani. Krishna is black, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like melted gold, golden color, Gaura Anga. So he has taken the color of Radharani, a form of Radharani, a complexion of Radharani, also the heart of Radharani. Why? Because he wants to love Krishna in this incarnation. This is called Chadma Avatar. This is not the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't advertise himself as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was known only to his very intimate associate as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was named as Vishwambara, born in Navadvip, Mayapur, and to families of Mishra, Jagannath Mishra, and Sachi Mishra. And he was born under a neem tree, so he was also named as Nimai. He became Pandit, scholar in Sanskrit grammar, and became known as Nimai Pandit. And after renunciation, after accepting sannyas, he became Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he appeared with his associates. Lord is never alone. A Lord always comes with his associates. So all the that Panchatattva mantra that we chant at the beginning of Hare Krishna, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is we seek blessings and mercy from all his associates, all his intimate associates, because of whom at their request Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. That's Advaita Acharya, Shivas Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is none other than Radharani. Shivas Pandit is none other than Narad Muni. Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu, and Nityananda Prabhu is Balram, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who appeared 500 years ago in Navadvip, Mayapur, West Bengal, and perform Leela. Lord, wherever he goes, he perform Leela. So, some or the other Leela. He comes here to perform Leela. Now, remember, he came to demonstrate by personal example how to become devotee of Krishna. So, he was a devotee of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a devotee of Krishna. He by showed by his personal example how to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and get love of Godhead, which is so rare. Krishna says, I don't give this to anyone and everyone. Why? Because whoever gets this gift, I get sold out to him. He can make me dance to his tune. So that's why I don't give love of Godhead to everyone. I give it to very few selected devotees. But Mahaprabhu came and distributed the same love of Godhead freely to everyone without seeing their qualification. He was freely distributing the love of Godhead to each and everyone. Whoever he saw, he gave them love of Godhead. They become inspired. They become enchanted by Krishna Prem, and everyone, the whole community, the whole state, the whole country started chanting and dancing in Sankirtan, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, congregational chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Mahaprabhu's appearance and his leelas are divided into three parts broadly. So this book is available, and you all should have this book. Purchase this book, uh, and let us know. We will have it delivered to your home online. You can buy, and then we can deliver it to your home wherever you are. But so this is broadly bifurcated into three khandas: Adi Leela, the covers the first 24 years of his life till such time he took sannyas. So he was a grahastha born to Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mishra, lived in we lived there, lived with them for some time, performed various pastimes. Keshav Kashmiri Pandit defeating him in argument, philosophical argument was performed there, and eventually he got married, but his wife left him in the separation when he went out for preaching Bengal, and then he came back and decided to accept sannyas. So that's Antyalila covered broadly in Antyalila. Description of his life are broadly covered in Antyalila. Madhyalila predominantly covers his travel, where he traveled all over India, freely distributing Krishna Prema Bhakti through chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He also preached from Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, because of him, he brought Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam at the center stage of preaching. And Srila Prabhupada is simply taking the movement of Mahaprabhu forward by establishing ISKCON, the where the fundamental discussion happens on the principles given by Bhagavad Gita and pastimes narrated in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the Antyalila. Antyalila covers last 18 years, where Mahaprabhu spent a lot of his time in Jagannath Puri, discussing and relishing Krishna's pastime with his close, intimate associates, fully absorbed in remembrance of Krishna. Fully absorbed in the remembrance of Krishna. That is Antyalila. And then he left his body uh, at various places. Some people saw him enter into Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Puri. Some saw him entered into the ocean of Jagannath Puri. And never returned, and some and saw him entered into the deity of Tota Gopinath on the banks of on the ocean shore of Jagannath Puri. Very beautiful standing deity of Tota Gopinath. He loved. Some people say that he entered. So simultaneously he entered into these three places, and therefore that's how he concluded his pastime. He didn't wrote books, but he gave instructions to Goswamis. The six Goswamis of Vrindavan were all his disciples, along with many other intimate associates, and they wrote books. So he gave instructions to Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and others, and they translated those instructions into books. And we read Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, and many other um, uh, beautiful books written by these Goswamis and Sandarbhas. But Mahaprabhu gave his instructions are summarized in 8 verses. They appear at the end of Antalila last chapter and as 8 verses in the in the Chaitanya Chatamrut. So they are known as Shikshashtakam. Shiksha Ashtakam. There are 8 instructions given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wherein the entire philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism is summarized beautifully. So if one can study and know these 8 verses, his life can become perfect. We'll just discuss the third verse from this Shikshashtakam, which goes like Trunadapi Sanichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Now this verse talks about becoming, Mahaprabhu is saying that one can chant the name of Lord Hari constantly. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Chanting of Krishna's name can happen. Sada means always. One can always chant name of Krishna. Or one can always remain absorbed in chanting of the name Hari. Uh, when so Kirtaniya Sada Hari can happen when you are not seeking respect and you're ready to give all respect. Amanina manadena. Manadena is giving all respects and accepting no respects. And that is an not an independent stage. It doesn't come suddenly. That is on the foundation of you becoming uh, lower trunadapi sunichena. Truna means blade of grass which is on the street. We walk on a lawn, walking lawn, and the single blade of grass, how much resistance does it have? It is standing. You put your foot on it and then it sleeps, does not complain. Mahaprabhu says, like that blade of grass, you should be tolerant, you should be humble. It's always bent. It's always bent. And and you should be sahishnuna, you should have tolerance like a tree. No matter if you give gali, if you hurt a tree, it does not feel bad. It will still continue to give you shade and fruits. So one can, even if you cut the tree, it does not complain. So one should be tolerant like a tree. One should be humbler than a blade of grass. One should be tolerant like a tree. One should not expect any respect in the world, and one should be ready to give all the respects to everyone. When one can be like this, one can become like this, then Kirtaniya Sadahari is possible. One can always remain absorbed in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you remain absorbed in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you will always remember Krishna 24 by 7. And that will help you in going back to Krishna. Remember 8.5, where Krishna says that अंतकाले च माम एवं स्मरण मुक्त्वा कलेवरम. अगर आपने मेरा, if you remember me at the time of giving up your body, then you will go to me, you will come back to me. Of this there is no doubt. Now that can happen only if you have practiced tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhya cha. Krishna says in 7th verse in the same 8th chapter that therefore, O Arjuna, sarveshu kaleshu, always remain absorbed in chanting my name and remembering me. He says remembering me and chanting and remembering is one and the same. When you chant somebody's name, you always think about that person when whose name you are taking. So the secret of that, how to follow that instruction into practical life, that secret is revealed by Mahaprabhu in this verse. That try to become so we'll see the translation. The one who think himself lower than the grass, humble or humbler or humility, one who is tolerant, more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor but is prepared to give all respects to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord, and thus he can chant throughout his life, he can remember Krishna. At the end of his life, also, he can easily remember Krishna and go back to Krishna. That can be the perfection of one's life. so, so there are these are the symptoms of one who chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Although he is very exalted, he think himself lower than the grass on the ground, and like a tree, he tolerate everything. Now let's understand the focus. Let's put focus on the humility. And before the class, we gave many questions that how can we really become humble. We want to be humble, but the world around us, will it really allow us to be humble and still survive? And that is the question that we'll deal with, and we'll use the example of our own Srila Prabhupada. Humility is often misunderstood as low self-esteem. That is not the case. Humility is not low self-esteem. Humility in practical sense means not letting our ego interfere with our purpose, our higher purpose. And so we have a higher purpose, and then we have some obstacles that may come in between. If we are, if we allow, when our obstacle comes and our ego, um, if we are, if we allow our ego to interfere, we will not be able to achieve our purpose. For example, if you are um going for a very important interview, very important meeting, and you are running late, you're hard pressed for time, very important, the most important meeting of your life, could be job interview, could be whatever it is. But if you're rushing for that meeting, and while on the way, going on the way, if you see your favorite ice cream parlor, uh, hopefully in all probability you will not stop, even though if it is your favorite. So what are you doing? You're having a purpose, you're driving for a purpose, you're driven by a purpose, and that purpose is so big that this pleasure, even if it promises a pleasure, you're able to give up this pleasure in order to concentrate on the bigger purpose, the big picture. Similarly, somebody may promise you to give 5 crore rupees, and you're rushing to get and claim that 5 crore rupees. On the way, you may find a 50 rupee note lying on the street. You will not consider it important to stop, look around, कोई देख नहीं रहा है, and then slowly, steal that 50 rupee note. You will not be interested. Why? Because you're rushing somewhere where you are going to get 55 crore rupees, which is a lot of money. So when you have a higher purpose in your mind, it is far easy to give up our lower inclinations. So let's see example. And the ego, basically the lower inclinations, means our ego will tell us do this, do that, and you are able to shut your ego down. You're not letting ego interfere with with your endeavor for achieving higher purpose. So let's see with an example of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was about 69 or 70 years of age. He was living comfortably in the comforts of Vrindavan. Vrindavan at that time was a very smallish town. Very big temples, known for its temple, but beautiful temples, known always as land of Krishna. Uh, but Vrindavan was very, very small town. Was hardly any trains would go there. Bullock carts, buses were not very prominent. This is in 60s, 50s and 60s when Srila Prabhupada lived there. And but Prabhupada was very famous in that place. He was known for his wisdom and mastery in the Vaishnava philosophy, and he met many head of state. So he lived in Radha Damodar temple. There was a room that Prabhupada had, and he used that, that's where the place Radha Damodar is there. Rupa Goswami Samadhi Mandir is there, and many other Goswamis Samadhis are there, where sannyasis Samadhis are there. It's a Vaishnava, it's a beautiful place where all Vaishnavas should once go at least, and pay obeisances. Apart from enchanting deities of Radha Damodar, but this is a very special place. And so Prabhupada was translating Srimad Bhagavatam first canto into English. He spent and then he was publishing his Back to Godhead magazine. He was writing constantly, and he was meeting different head of state. He met President of India. He met many known famous dignitaries and presented them with Bhagavatam copies of Srimad Bhagavatam that he was translating. So Prabhupada was very influential and well known sannyasi in Vrindavan, even and in many places in India, Kolkata, Allahabad, where he had his business. He had many friends, many relatives, many well-wishers, many god brothers in all these places. So had Prabhupada wanted, if and he was well respected, well known. So if respect is all what Prabhupada wanted, he was getting it abundantly in India. There was no need for him to go leave this respect and go to America and live amongst unknown people. So if he wanted a respect, he could have easily spent the rest of his life living comfortably in Vrindavan. But he was driven by a purpose, which was higher purpose given by his Guru Maharaj. He was told to preach in English language in the Western countries and was also asked to print and publish books whenever he would get money. What books about what? Books about Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, which was given established by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was a man with mission. He had no time to see if he's getting respect, somebody is respecting him or not respecting him. He didn't care. If if that is all what he was to care, then he would have never left India. He would have always remained stationed in Vrindavan, where everyone would have respected him anyway. So, but because he was driven by that purpose, higher purpose, which is the order of his guru, he left Vrindavan and at an advanced stage went to America on a container ship, suffered two heart attacks on the during the voyage. And Prabhupada writes in his diary that after the second heart attack, he actually saw Lord Krishna massaging him his chest and assuring him that don't worry, everything will happen properly. I will take care of everything. And with that assurance, Prabhupada says on the voyage, during the voyage, the only solace for him was a Bengali copy of Sri Chaitanya Chatamrita. That was his only rescue. That is what saved him, he said. Otherwise, I would have died on that voyage itself. It's such a massive heart attacks that he got, and despite of that, he managed to reach America alive. And he said that itself was a miracle. And then he wrote a beautiful poem saying that, oh Krishna, with all these difficulties, first of all, he didn't get money, he had no money, he brought 40 rupees with him. As he came to America, he was carrying 40 rupees, which was probably equivalent of $5 to $6 in America that time. So, and he had one sponsor who was not interested in meeting him at all, and he knew nobody in America. He had not doesn't didn't even had one disciple in India. What to speak of America? So he was completely clueless as to what he's going to do in America. All only thing that he had was Srimad Bhagavatam, which he had translated and printed, and he was carrying by way of a trunk, in a trunk full of Srimad Bhagavatam. That was his only asset. Right in that poem that, oh Lord, I don't know why you have brought me here, but since you have brought me, I think you have some plan behind it. And whatever is your plan, I don't know that. I don't even know how am I going to speak and these people are going to understand. They are fully covered by mode of ignorance and mode of passion. How will they understand Krishna Katha even though the medicine for them is Krishna Katha? But because they are covered by these modes, they will never be able to develop inclination to hear Krishna Katha. So I don't know how am I going to do, what am I going to do. But he says, since you brought me alive on the shore of America, I think you have some higher plan. And whatever plan you have, oh Lord, you make me dance to your tune. I will dance like a puppet. I am ready to do whatever you want me to do, Lord. This is a complete surrendered mood. Prabhupada lived in suburbs of New York City where only hippies were living. Very low, degraded people were living, were completely uncultured, completely disrespectful and dangerous people. Many of them lived under the influence of drugs. They were taking drugs and alcohol. And the only principle that they were following was they were giving up all religious principle. That was the only principle, they were following. They, none of their actions were as per the scriptures. That was the kind of dangerous state in which they were. And Prabhupada was had to live with them for about 1 year. So he told many of his disciples later that if you'll tell what I suffered in that 1 year of in New York, in cold, in heat, while living amongst those uncultured people, you will, I mean, you will. I don't know how you will take it, how you will understand it. So unexplainable hardship Prabhupada faced in that 1 year when he had nothing. He was away from India, away from Vrindavan, away from his Radha Damodar, away from Srila Rupa Goswami, away from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's land, Bengal, in amongst crazy people who would always be drinking. Violence was at its peak, and drugs mafia was abundantly available. Everybody was used to take drugs in that society, and but slowly those people started taking interest in Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada's kirtan and Prabhupada's philosophy. So, and that is what kept Prabhupada, helped Prabhupada kept going. And Prabhupada, this is a picture of a Prabhupada doing kirtan underneath a tree in a garden in a park in New York. And they said this is Tomskin Park. There's a board right now. Also, if you visit there, there's a board that this is where Prabhupada started his kirtan, and eventually it grew into a movement called ISKCON, and that is so it all started from this park where he was penniless. He had knew nobody, and he was surrounded by these crazy looking people. Um, so Prabhupada, because he was driven by higher purpose, he didn't care for personal comfort, discomfort, respect, honor, dishonor, insult. He tolerated it all because he was driven by the higher purpose of preaching in the Western world, giving them Krishna. Krishna is the highest position that anyone can have. But that highest position grow when you give it to somebody. It's unlike the highest positions in the material world. If you have gold, money, dollars, diamonds, none of that grow by giving out. But Krishna Prem grow by giving out. That's the speciality of this wealth. So Srila Prabhupada tolerated everything. He was completely humbled and surrendered to Krishna's will. He kept trying. Almost for 1 year, he suffered enormously, and slowly, towards the end of that 1 year, he started meeting devotees who were interested in Krishna consciousness, and they started coming frequently to his classes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. He started cooking for them. They started contributing. He cooked for them bhoga or prasad. They ate. They liked it, and then they became more serious. They started chanting, and the magic happened. The magic happened after that. Uh, and the New York temple came into existence. San Francisco opened. In Canada, the Toronto, Montreal temples came up. And slowly, the movement started finding its roots in America, went to Europe, London, other European countries, eventually landed in India. And then it's growing now everywhere. People are becoming devotees. All started because Prabhupada didn't care for his respect, didn't care that he will be insulted by these rough Americans, who didn't knew how to deal with a sannyasi. In America, in India, you will see a sannyasi, the whole the whole society will bow down to a sannyasi. In America, none of that was happening. So, but Prabhupada didn't care for any of that. So now he was humbler. He was very humble and he was very tolerant. Many of his letters, Prabhupada has written that the devotees used to complain about each other, and then the same Prabhupada used to advise them, you should tolerate your God brothers just like how I am tolerating you. So it's don't think that you are a great devotee, and even I am tolerating you. You are making mistakes. I am tolerating you. Similarly, you tolerate your juniors. So many of his instructions actually in the later contain this kind of statements. So Prabhupada was humble. Prabhupada was tolerant. But the same Prabhupada, when he would preach like a lion. He would leave no stone unturned while preaching. He would go and meet the head of states, the influential people, the top people, and he would want his temples to be established at the center of a city, so that the whole city should become attraction of the for the whole city. So his plans were very high. He didn't had ordinary plans. मेक दो चार टेम्पल्स बनाते हैं, हो जाएगा अमेरिका में, तो फिर अब कनाडा क्यों जाना, लंदन क्यों जाना, यूरोप क्यों जाना. नो, ही वांटेड name of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, name of Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be chanted in every nook and corner of the world. And for that one purpose, he traveled around the world 14 times from 1966 till 1977, spreading, talking about Krishna, opening temples, initiating devotees, telling them how to do things, teaching them Vaishnava etiquettes, teaching them how to wear dhoti, teaching them how to cook bhoga, teaching them cleanliness, teaching them, helping them chant regularly. As they chanted, they all of these were many of these were hippies, and we don't know what a hippie is. Hippies were extremely dirty life that they were living, and not that they would not take bath, they would grow hairs, they would grow, they would, I mean, they would take drugs, they would take alcohol, they will have many partners, and extremely degraded life that many of those were living, and simply by chanting they became brahmanas. And then and they got initiated. The first initiation, the Brahminical initiation, they become pujaris in temples. They became editors of Sanskrit magazines, Back to Godhead magazines, and Bhagavatam translators. They become preachers. They became sannyasis. They got transformed completely, and that it's bigger miracle than whatever the world that we have seen in this for the last 500 years after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the biggest miracle of our time, and that is where we are connected. We are connected to that Srila Prabhupada, who manifested this biggest miracle in this world. So when we are driven by the higher comfort, you become tolerant. But what does it mean that Prabhupada was always tolerant and humble? Yes, but he, wherever needed, he fought like a lion. Like in case of Juhu, Mumbai, the landlord was trying to cheat devotees. He took the money, but he was not giving away land. He was wanted to sell the same land to someone else, and Prabhupada fought with him like a lion. Prabhupada Prabhupada, they took that matter to the court, and extremely difficult battle, but Prabhupada fought it. Prabhupada fought it with all his heart, all his energies. Mr. That man who initiated this battle, he died of heart attack, but his wife chose to continue, and Prabhupada fought with her as well. At some stage, she gave up because she saw it. She was losing, and then she gave up. She came to Srila Prabhupada, came to meet Srila Prabhupada, and then she offered her obeisances. He said, beg for forgiveness, and Prabhupada forgived her also. Says, don't worry, you are not, you are like my daughter. And but while fighting, Prabhupada was fighting like a lion. So becoming a humble, becoming tolerant, and fighting like a lion, both qualities, they may seem contrasting qualities, but both were exhibited by Srila Prabhupada. And there is a lesson for all of us in this. Self pity, another few examples we will take of humility, and then we move to the tolerance and surrender. And then some practical examples from Chaitanya Charitamrita also we will study. So far we are discussing about humility, and we have seen from the example of Srila Prabhupada how Prabhupada was humble, tolerant. At the same time, when the need arose, he fought like a lion with all his strength, with all his heart, and with all his might. He fought extremely difficult battles, and he became victorious. Uh, so, so that is humility and tolerance. And so the other side of humility, a lot of people believe that thinking that I'm good for nothing is humility. Think self-pity is negative, is a negative self-absorption. That is not humility. Self-pity is negative self-absorption. If it is, and that is not called humility. Humility is not thinking low or thinking high of oneself, but thinking less about oneself. Prabhupada was not thinking who will respect me, who will pay obeisances to me, who will cook my lunch prasad. He didn't care for all of that because he was not thinking about himself. He was thinking how I can preach to the Western people, how I can spread Krishna's name in every town and village of this world. How can I take this movement, this wonderful philosophy of Krishna consciousness, inaugurated Sankirtan Yajna by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself? How can I take it to the Western world and deliver it to them? This was his only thinking. He was not thinking about मेरा क्या होगा, मुझे कौन देखेगा, मुझे पहचानेंगे ना, मेरा फोटो तो आएगा ना. Everything else followed, but he didn't care for himself. So in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is asking Arjuna to become humble, and then in that mood practice devotional service in the surrendering, by surrendering to him. Surrender comes at later stage. So humility is the first and the last word in bhakti. Unless we become humble, we cannot become a devotee, and we cannot practice devotional service. And by devotional service, we become pure, and later stage we are able to surrender to Krishna. So humility, the qualities of devotees qualities are knowledge, is explained in the 13th chapter, and the first word is is amanitva. And Prabhupada write a beautiful purport in that verse, a group of verses, I think eight till about six, seven verses are clubbed together, and Prabhupada has written one purport for it, 13.8 onwards. And Prabhupada writes that purport, and he begins by amanitva and ends also with amanitva, that humility. So that's what that signifies how important it is for us to be humble. 15th chapter also fourth verse describe that that the qualities of person who should be liberating, they are described, that urdhva mula shakam, that the purushottam yoga, nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. uh, these are the qualities that one should possess in, one should have in devotees. So one should cultivate humility, one should be able to cultivate humility. The 4.34 is the verse how we should interact with our guru, our teachers. Says that upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. These our teachers will give us knowledge because they have seen the truth. And how should we approach them? We should approach them by paying obeisances, and by rendering services, and by making humble inquiries. By in that way we approach a guru, and then only he will give us knowledge. 18.58 verse also, Krishna says that if you don't listen to me, your all your endeavors will be lost. But if you become conscious of me, if you're become aware of me, take surrender to me, become surrender to me, you will cross over all the hurdles. Very beautiful verses. You can learn these verses, and and then know that how to practice according to these verses. So what happens to us? How can we think of humility, and what is our role of humility in our life? Let's see how does that work. In a practical way, what happens when we become successful, when we achieve something? Generally, we become proud, we become very happy. Initially, we always feel we deserved this success, and that deserving feeling gives us pride. With pride, we become arrogant. So even if we start by becoming that, by thinking that I deserve this success, I deserve this comfort, I deserve this opulence, I deserve these qualities in me. So the moment we feel that we deserve something, our humility goes for a toss. We deserve nothing. Everything is given to us by the mercy of Lord Krishna. So we don't reserve our look. We don't deserve. We don't. We, we don't deserve. We didn't deserve our current qualities that we have. We didn't deserve current skills that we may have. We didn't deserve current bank balance. We didn't deserve anything that we possess. And for which, we, the moment we feel we deserve it, we will become proud of it, and we become arrogant because of that proud. And that is throwing, that is kicking humility out of window. And when we don't get anything according to our expectation, we get disappointed, discouraged, uh, and stress, and become discouraged by the failures. So all our success, know for sure that all our success, achievements, wealth, health, beauty, etc., qualities, everything comes due to Krishna's mercy. Hence, convincingly, with conviction, we should know that everything is coming by Krishna's mercy. Had Krishna, if Krishna wants, in 1 second, he can take away everything. So we should always remain humble, no matter how much we have, no matter how much we will possess, no matter how great in people's eye we may become. But we should remain humble, fully knowing that it is coming to me because of Krishna's sanction, Krishna's mercy. When we get failures, we should know that they are fruits of our own bad karma. So one should always remain humble in success and humble in failure both. How should we deal with the life situation? Accept, mitigate, and tolerate. Accept the situation. Acceptance, if you fall sick, accept that you are sick. Accept that, don't fight with the doctor, don't debate unnecessarily and unendingly, because the moment you accept, you can think of, okay, I have this problem, what am I going to do about it? Now your energies are channelized in finding a solution for the problem. But if all your energies are lost in fighting with the problem, then you will never be left with energies to find a solution to the problem. And that is very sad. That will be very sad. So accept it, mitigate. Don't just, accepting doesn't mean we don't do anything to improve it. We let us do whatever best we can to improve our situation. No matter how bad our situation might be, we can do something to improve it a little bit. And those small improvements eventually can lead to big transformations also. So we should mitigate, we should do our best to improve what we have. Even after that, we can't change things ups and down. Then comes the third term, tolerate. We tolerate only after we have accepted and mitigated. Then then there is nothing else that we can do, then we tolerate. So but we continue to find ways and means to serve Krishna. So tolerance, we came across this term now. The tolerance is accepting reality as reality. Getting, again, we discussed this, getting angry or resenting at reality can only worsen our present condition. So follow, if we have Jaipur Yatra coming up on say 25th of 24th onwards, February. all of you are requested to register for the same and come for the yatra. But if you registered, if you booked your ticket in advance, everything is all nice, and 1 week before you fall sick and doctor advise you not to go for yatra, and then everyone, all your friends and family members go for the yatra, and then they are sending you pictures from yatra, and you're wondering, you're pathetic, you're feeling very bad that why me, why chose God chose to fall, make me fall sick. uh, couldn't go for yatra. Now if you feel bad, if you start beating yourself up, the pain you will experience will be greater than the pain that you are going to experience by falling sick, by having a fever, because this is mental agony that you will experience will be greater than the agony caused by fever. So one should not get fall into that trap. One should accept that if I have fallen sick, I have fallen sick. Let me do how I can recover, how quickly I can recover from it, rather than killing myself. Why did I fall sick? I only had to fall sick? Why everyone, none of them fall sick, fell sick? I don't know how could they go leaving me behind, and how could they enjoy without me, and so on and so forth. So accepting reality will help us gather our resources and properly direct our energy towards solving the problem rather than beating our own self up. It's like we may have a car. Now we may have Maruti Desire, Maruti Alto, small Maruti Alto, and my neighbor may have, or my brother may have BMW or Mercedes or some fancy car, Ferrari or something like that. Now my cars, these two are completely uncomparable car, and one may easily feel jealous of my brother. He has such a wonderful car. My car may cost 5 lakh rupees. These cars may cost 5 crore rupees. So is it, what do I do with this? Now, if this is all what I can afford, given the present time and place and circumstances, then I have to live with what I have rather than crying why I don't have the other one. When we compare, this problem keep popping up, that my brother has BMW and I have a Alto. How is it fair, Krishna? We may go and ask, but you have what you deserve, and he has what he deserves. So see Krishna's hand in his life rather than you seeing what you don't have. That will never make you happy ever. So don't break your car, don't take a rod and break that car that you possess. Use it. Both cars are used to go from place 1 to place B, and use it to the maintain it to the best of your ability. Use it properly, and the whenever the conditions improve, whenever you can afford, buy another car, buy another higher end car, buy another Mercedes or another BMW car, and then if that is possible, but doesn't mean that because my car is not as good looking as my brother's car, I will just take a rod and break it down completely. No, use it, mitigate, accept it, mitigate it, and then tolerate it, because overnight this Alto cannot become Mercedes BMW. So if that variation is causing you any pain, so be it, tolerate it, can't do much about it. So these are the practical application of our knowledge. Let's see, since we're speaking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let's see two examples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrate who is Krishna. Now we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrating uh, humility and tolerance in his personal, because he came to taught everyone, so obviously he has to demonstrate by personal example to tell everyone how to be humble and how to be tolerant. So let's see couple of examples of two pastimes. We'll see, the as we know that there's a Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, and Antya Lila. In Adi Lila, in the Madhya Lila, I think sixth or seventh chapter comes a beautiful pastime of deliverance of liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Mahaprabhu, when he came to Jagannath Puri, he became sannyasi, he accepted sannyas and came to Jagannath Puri. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya at that time was taking care of Jagannath temple. He was one of the head trustees in that temple, a very important man. And he was also known to be the greatest scholar of Mayavada philosophy. Of Mayavada philosophy, and Mahaprabhu wanted Sarvabhauma to become Vaishnava devotee. Now, there's a subtle difference in Mayavad and Vaishnava. They all look like a devotees only, all look like sannyasis. But Mayavadis are offenders of Krishna. Mayavadis are offenders of Krishna. Mayavadis think of Krishna's form as also false. They say that for them the conception of God is formless, does not have a form. And you may worship any form at the beginning, but you need to go beyond form. And the form of Lord Krishna also they consider it to be false or made up of Maya. So therefore, they are known as offenders of Krishna, and their bhashya or their commentaries written on Bhagavad Gita or Shastra also take one in that same direction. Therefore, we have to be very choosy, picky. We should know from who is following which philosophy, and then decide whether we should listen to them or not. Blindly, we shouldn't try to listen to each and everyone who is wearing saffron. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was present in Jagannath Puri. Before we preach to anybody, we need to touch their heart. We need to make their heart softer before our message can go inside that heart. Mahaprabhu wanted very strategically wanted to convert Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya into a Vaishnava devotee. He had many disciples. He was extremely influential, extremely famous, well-known scholar of Mayavada. And if he were to become devotee of Lord Chaitanya, that would send out a big message to the मायावाद. So this is like जैसे वर्ल्ड वॉर होते थे वैसे wars होते थे between Vaishnavas and Mayavadis. And both sides would present a philosophical point which they would consider to be superior than the other one. Lord himself chose to appear as a Vaishnava sannyasi and preach Vaishnava philosophy. That solved the whole problem, resolved the whole confusion. And now we know for sure that the Vaishnava philosophy is supreme and that he has to be followed. Therefore, we don't we don't blindly follow every person who claim to be a religionist. We have to see if he is a Vaishnava also. And accordingly we should consider them as worthy of following. So Mahaprabhu wanted this conversion to take place, this conversion of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya into Vaishnava devotee to take place in his first few days of arrival in Jagannath Puri. So Mahaprabhu entered, he came alone in the temple of Jagannath. Mahaprabhu is Krishna. Jagannath is also Krishna. And Mahaprabhu is in the mood of a devotee. He's appeared as a devotee. He wants to show how to become devotee of Krishna by his personal example. So Mahaprabhu, the moment he sees Jagannath, he faints on the ground. And seeing at that time Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was present in the temple, and he saw Mahaprabhu's beautiful features. Mahaprabhu was self-effulgent, beautiful sannyasi, had a huge, very tall in height and he's Krishna himself. So Krishna, when he will take a Gaura form, how he will look? He will look extremely attractive, extremely beautiful. He was very effulgent, as if sun. And so Sarvabhauma couldn't couldn't ignore this sannyasi. He says this sannyasi seems to be special. And then he immediately called the security staff of Jagannath temple and lifted Mahaprabhu. He fainted on the ground, fell on the ground in the Jagannath temple, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya arranged him to be lifted and taken to his own home. He saw he does not have any the he didn't had any other friends, or he's alone. Then he was worried. He started observing his body, and he saw that all the ashta sattviki vikaras are present in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he understood that he is not ordinary. And he's thinking, with, is he some devata, is he some, or he's Narayan himself, who he could be. But 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 by keeping silent, but because he was not conscious, his um initially he was focused on bringing him to the consciousness. After a while, all Nityananda Mahaprabhu and other his associates reach Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's home, and they found Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lying there, and then they chanted. Then Mahaprabhu came to the external consciousness, and he was very humble, and he was very sorry for what had happened. What Mahaprabhu has done in this case is that he allowed, indirectly, Sarvabhauma was a Grahastha devotee. So he allowed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to render service unto him. A sannyasa Grahastha will always respect a sannyasi, always pay obeisances to a sannyasi, because sannyasi is in higher ashrama. Grahastha is in lower ashrama. Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and then sannyas. So sannyasis must be respected by a Grahastha. So appearing as a sannyasi, naturally Mahaprabhu made Sarvabhauma render some service unto him. And that softened his heart. Then Gopinath Acharya, his Mahaprabhu's associate, he's arguing with Sarvabhauma that he's Narayan himself, he's Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Why you are not able to understand it? And they had a big debate. And then he says, "Okay, yeah, I understand now. Why you are not able to understand that Mahaprabhu's is the Supreme Lord? Because he, you have still not been favored by him." In Bhagavad Gita, we learn in the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, that 10th verse in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tvam yena mam upayantite. That I give them additional intelligence to those people who are satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. जो मेरा सतत युक्ता नाम, सतत, always, they are always remain busy in मेरी भक्ति करने में बिजी है, और लविंगली कर रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि ग्रजिंगली कर रहे हैं, दे आर लविंगली वर्शिपिंग मी, दे आर लविंगली परफॉर्मिंग डिवोशनल सर्विस. Such people, I give them additional intelligence, and so that they can know me, and they can remain fixed in my devotional service, and end of their life they can come to me. So Gopinath Acharya is telling the same philosophy, that because you are not being favored by him, you are not able to understand. So that is the quote of the Shastra. Then, listening to this discussion, Mahaprabhu, um, concerning that the authority of the Vedic scripture, specifically the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra. So concerning this, Mahaprabhu said, "No, no, don't speak like this. Uh, you know, uh, he's like my um, um, guru. He's like my spiritual master." That's what Sarvama said. Uh, and then that's how, yeah, that is how the conversation went. Then there was a discussion between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concerning the authority of Vedic scripture, especially the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra. He was impersonalist. He was impersonalist, and so in the Jagannath temple, 7 days and 7 nights, they both sat and spoke about Vedanta. And Bhattacharya was being impersonalist. He was giving explanation after explanation, and like Mahaprabhu was constantly listening. He didn't utter a word. Now, um, भट्टाचार्य बिकम वरीड दैट 7 दिन से आप सुन रहे हो ना, आप हाँ बोल रहे हो ना ना बोल रहे हो, यू आर नॉट काउंटरिंग माई आर्ग्यूमेंट्स, यू आर नॉट डिबेटिंग विथ मी, यू आर नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग द सेम एज वेल. हाउ एम आई टू अंडरस्टैंड इफ यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग एनीथिंग एट ऑल? Then Mahaprabhu spoke. He says that he does not have any confusion about the Vedanta Sutra and what they mean, but he cannot agree with the explanations, impersonalist explanations given by Bhattacharya. And then Mahaprabhu spoke Vedanta philosophy from Vaishnava this thing angle, and then gave him Shadbhuja Darshan to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Now, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya uh, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya accepted that got defeated and accepted Mahaprabhu's words and accepted all his arguments as final. And then um, Mahaprabhu, you know, converted. That's how Mahaprabhu converted Sarvabhauma into a pure Vaishnava. So Sarvabhauma was again his. It all began by softening his heart. By unless you touch heart and head of the people, unless you clear their heart, they will not let you come in. And because Mahaprabhu made Sarvabhauma render some service to him, his heart became softened by that service. And by personal appearance of Mahaprabhu, again, he was very convinced that Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he became pure devotee. The symptoms of pure devotee is not just wearing tilak and wearing dhoti kurta and carrying a bead bag in his neck, but conducting his life according to the Vaishnava principles. So one morning, after this incident, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received some prasadam from Jagannath and offered it to Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. Without caring for formality, Bhattacharya immediately partook the Mahaprasad. So he had not even taken bath. The normal etiquette is when a prasad is offered, you should not take prasad without taking bath. But having become a pure devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Lord Krishna, Sarvabhauma didn't consider it necessary. Immediately Mahaprabhu offered him prasad. He said, "I don't care," and then he took that prasad. That is indication that he became came to the stage of prema bhakti of Krishna, prema bhakti towards Krishna. That love of Godhead, the fruit that Mahaprabhu came to distribute, was accepted by Sarvabhauma wholeheartedly, and he was completely drowning in the love of Krishna. Another incident is quoted there that Bhattacharya asked Mahaprabhu that best way to worship and meditate on Lord, advised him to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then on another day, Bhattacharya wanted to change Bhagavatam verse to which said Mukti Pada. And to he said मुक्ति पदा मुझे नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है, मुक्ति क्यों करना है, भक्ति पदा होना चाहिए, भक्ति करनी चाहिए सबको. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised not to change the verse because Mukti Pada indicated the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how um, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's heart was transformed from impersonalist to Vaishnava, a pure Vaishnava that he became, and he remained in association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the entire pastime. Another beautiful example comes in the Adi Leela and seventh chapter of Adi Leela, which is a transformation of Sri Prakashananda Saraswati, another Vedic scholar based in Mayavadi scholar based in Varanasi. So Varanasi was capital of Mayavada philosophy. All the Mayavadi philosophers, uh, उनका वो गढ़ था और कैपिटल था. So Prakashananda Saraswati was their leader, an exalted sannyasi. So, but so Mahaprabhu went to Varanasi and um, he went to Bindu Madhav temple. Uh, Bindu Madhav is a beautiful temple there in Varanasi. Mahaprabhu, seeing the beauty of Lord Bindu Madhav, became overwhelmed in ecstatic love, and he then began to dance in courtyard of the temple. Now there were four people accompanying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they were also started chanting and dancing. Then seeing all of them seeing all of them dance like this, um, Prakashananda Saraswati, who was nearby, and his disciples, they made some rude comments about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying that, and then those were heard by one of the well-wisher, one of the disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a Maharashtrian Brahman who used to live in Varanasi. Now, this Brahmana knew that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not, would so Brahmana wanted Mahaprabhu to debate with Prakashananda Saraswati and defeat them, because a devotee cannot tolerate blasphemy of about their Lord. So he arranged for a big festival in his home. He invited Prakashananda Saraswati and other so-called exalted sannyasis from Mayavada, with Mayavada background, and he also invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the same event. So Lord accepted that invitation and went to the house of that Brahmana and saw all the sannyasis of Banaras are sitting there. Lord, as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord, saw all the sannyasis, he immediately offered obeisances to them and we went to wash his feet. After washing his feet, he sat down द सेम प्लेस जहां पे उन्होंने पैर धोए, हाथ पैर धोए, वहीं पे जाके वो बैठ गए. इट्स लाइक शोइंग बाय पर्सनल एग्जांपल दैट वी आर दास. दास इज द फिलोसॉफी गिवन बाय श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु. हो जो कृष्ण के दास है, हमको उनका दास बनना है, उनके सर्वेंट बनना है. एंड सर्वेंट प्लेस इज नॉट ऑन द टॉप, सर्वेंट प्लेस इज वेयर सर्विस इज. सो Mahaprabhu, with this humility, sat at the same place where where the servant, which will typically be a place for a servant. But and seeing his personal beauty, seeing his personal charismatic form, Prakashananda Saraswati and all his sannyasis, all his disciples were awestruck. And they immediately got up from their seat. They came forward and then they came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They gave his hand to him, saying that, please come here, Your Holiness. You do not, why do you sit in that unclean place? What has caused your lamentation? The Lord replied, I belong to a lower order of sannyasis. Therefore, I do not deserve to sit with you. Prakashananda Saraswati, however, caught Mahaprabhu personally by his hand and made him sit with great respect in the midst of assembly. Again, Mahaprabhu is demonstrating by his personal example, by showing humility, his touching heart of Prakashananda Saraswati, because he want to transform him later. He want him to accept wholeheartedly the fact that Vaishnava philosophy is superior. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is not formless. He has a form. He has a mind and he has desires also. So, so that transformation, if that has to happen, you have to touch heart of the other person. And Mahaprabhu was expertly doing the same very thing, very strategically. And there, so Prakashananda Saraswati said that, I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya and you are a disciple of Sri Keshava Bharati and therefore you are glorious. You belong to our Shankara Sampradaya and live in our village Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is that you you avoid even seeing us? You are a sannyasi. Why then engaging in your Sankirtana movement in the company of fanatics? Meditation and the study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these and dance with the fanatic people? So uh, Mahaprabhu was always seen as chanting and dancing sannyasi. He was not discussing philosophy with people in general. So, because and then he reveals the reason for that very shortly. Prakashananda Saraswati continued that you look as brilliant as if you were Narayana himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted the behavior of a low class people? Now he's considering Mahaprabhu's behavior to be that of low class people. ऐसे पागल जैसे कौन डांस करता है रास्ते पे, सिंगिंग एंड डांसिंग करते कौन घूमता है? तुम सन्यासी हो, हम लोग जैसे बैठे हैं, ऐसे करो। कुछ वेदशाला खोलो, पाठशाला खोलो, वहां पे अध्ययन करो, मेडिटेशन करो। ये सन्यासी का ड्यूटी है। ये तुम क्या पागलों जैसे रास्ते पे डांस करते घूमते रहे हो, और वो भी एक पूरा ग्रुप बना के, गैंग लेके अपनी। सो Prakashananda Saraswati is actually feeling very hurt, very sorry for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals that, "He, my dear sir, kindly hear the reason." Then he says that my spiritual master considered me a fool and therefore he chastised me. You are a fool, he said. You are not qualified to study Vedanta, philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras and Vedic hymns. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of Krishna. In this age of Kali, there is no religious principle other than chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all Vedic hymns and the purport of all scriptures. After describing the potency of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, my spiritual master taught me another verse, asking me, uh, advising me to always keep it within my throat. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative. There is no alternative. There is no alternative to the holy name, and holy name of the Lord. हरेर नाम एव केवलम, कलो नास्तेव 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 गतिर अन्यथा। हरि कलयुग में हरि नाम के अलावा हमें तारने वाला कोई नहीं है। सो और ये 3 बार बोला गया है, सो दैट इट इट गोज डीप इनसाइड अवर हार्ट and we become convinced of this fact. Mahaprabhu says further that Kiba, my guru said, I asked my guru, Kiba mantra dila goshai, Kiba tare bala, japite japite mantra korile pagala. My dear Lord, my dear Guru, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become mad simply by chanting this Mahamantra. Mahaprabhu continues that because of that, I'm not able to give up chanting of this mantra. I become pagal, I become mad. And, you should understand this is the reason why I do what I do. And I don't do what you do. You just sit there idle, do nothing. Rather, I go and distribute Krishna Prem to everyone. So, text 84 says that religiosity, dharma, artha, kama moksha. Dharma, artha, kama moksha. That is religiosity, economic development, dharma, artha, sense gratification, kama, and moksha, liberty, liberation. Uh, so these four are known as four goals of human life. But before love of Godhead, the fifth and the highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. कृष्ण प्रेम, कृष्ण भक्ति आ, हासिल करने के सामने ये चार तृणावत है। कोई मायने नहीं रखता, कुछ मीनिंगलेस है। दिस फोर आर वेरी स्मॉल इनसिग्निफिकेंट अचीवमेंट्स। सो इवन इफ यू हैव डन दैट, धर्म किया है, बहुत एजुकेशन किया है, अर्थ किया है, काफ़ी इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट की है, बहुत पैसे कमाए हैं, बहुत महल बनाए हैं, बिजनेस को खड़े किए हैं, मल्टी मिलियनर बिलियनर बन चुके हैं, बट बहुत सारा ऑपुलेंस आ गया है, तो बहुत सारा सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन भी कर रहे हैं। ये तीन करने से लिबरेशन नहीं होगा, लिबरेशन का ख्याल भी नहीं आएगा। एंड बट भक्ति करने से, बट ये सब किया है, भक्ति नहीं की तो इट्स अ वेस्टफुल एंडेवर, श्रम वही केवलम. सो दैट इज वाई the fifth and the highest goal is more important. That is uh, the love of Krishna. That is to become fall in love with Krishna and become servant of Krishna. For a devotee who has actually developed bhava, the pleasure derived from dharma, artha, kama, moksha, appears like a drop in front of an ocean. Let's see how we can then we've heard a lot about humility, becoming humble, and let's see if we can how we can practically apply this in our life. Now we've seen humility, the definition, being humble, and we've seen from the example of Srila Prabhupada what does humility means, and how though he was humble, he fought battles. He was very ferocious in while fighting battles wherever required, in preaching, in speaking with the impersonalists, or fighting battle for Mumbai land. He was ferocious, very aggressive. So and he was forgiving also. So humility has many angles. It's not a simple concept. But we need to practice humility to become devotee. Krishna says, if you're not devotee, if you want to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if you remember Krishna throughout your day, throughout your life, also at the end of your life, you have no choice but to become humble. And Mahaprabhu gives this verse, Trunadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna. Now, having understood that we want to become humbler, and we've seen examples, Mahaprabhu's example himself, Prabhupada's example, how can we maintain our dignity and self-esteem by becoming humble? That's the first question. And second question is, how can we practice humility at home, office, with friends, and with remote amongst relatives? Let's see if we can get some hands up, or somebody wants to speak. It will be a wonderful discussion to have now. First question, we can somebody can attempt. Yes, Swapnil Bhuji. And Kishore Bakshani. Kishore,
Hare Krishna
after.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah.
First sign of humility, as per me, is that greet Hare Krishna to everyone, whomsoever we meet first and have an eye contact. Just say in a humility way, Hare Krishna and greet him. Hare
Uh,
Krishna Prabhuji,
yeah.
Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. So, Kishore Bhuji.
Yes, according to me, Hare Krishna Prabhu, according to me, humility can be important for spiritual growth. And when you are humble, you do life with everyone. You know, when humble people are usually when we learn and grow and respect each and every individual. So it's very important to seek that guidance and give all this guidance to everyone, and willingness to follow this throughout the life is very important with
Okay.
the blessings of God.
Yeah. How do we maintain our dignity and self-esteem? We shouldn't be seen as weak. How do we ensure that happens?
Um, so again, when you are humble and when you're kind, uh, you know, kind enough to understand the other person's, emotions and intentions, accordingly, you need to guide and support each other according to me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Raji. Anybody else want to say something? Yes, Sudeep Prabhuji and then Kanchan Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, being humble is our basic nature. So that is what should it comes naturally. What we think, because we are actually living in a Mayavi world, so we think that we should show uh, gain some dignity by showing ourselves different than being humble. So that I think is something which is uh, make, which we are acting actually, not our natural self. being humble is anyway our natural self, which anyway makes us strong and gets enough dignity, whatever dignity we deserve. So that is what I think.
Okay, yeah, very nice. Yes, Kanchan Dadaji.
Jai Shri Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
What
Krishna.
I think is when we become lovingly and when we see Krishna in everybody, when we feel that love and when we accept them as they are and we are open to understand their perspective as well, and we can and when we accept that yes, we might have different perspective, but there can be different perspectives to different things of the same thing also. So that way, if we are having an open mind, we can become humble and we can surrender to new learnings, we can surrender to new perspectives, and we accept them lovingly, and that's how this we can maintain our dignity as well, and we can be humble.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Angaraj Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, that was Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I can be wrong while explaining this. The first question is, can we maintain our dignity and self-esteem by becoming humble? Prabhuji, according to me, the basic route for basic, matlab, for becoming the humble, the basic route is that we should feel that we have the mercy of the Lord, or we should feel the mercy at every moment, because whatever the thing we can do, whatever the good we can do from our body or our mind, it is possible by only by the mercy of the Lord. So we should not take, we should not we feel very arrogant while doing some good work, or at every moment, like we can understand from the example of Hanumanji, because at every moment he always chant the Lord Sri Ram, name of Lord Sri Ram, and give the credit to the Lord and the gurus. So in this way we can be the humble, or for the purpose of maintaining our dignity and self-esteem. Like Prabhuji, you earlier explained that Prabhupada Ji may become ferocious when the ego interfere with the, sorry Prabhuji, we need to take the action when the ego interfere with the higher purpose. For example, if another purpose is interfering with our work, for the work of the world, then we can take the action. In that stage also, manso vacho karmana, we have to take the action when there is a action on the bodily platform. There, there is a direct action, the direct attack on our body, or we need to survive our body, because through this body we can worship or we can work for the God. So we can maintain. Or sometimes if we are actually humble, then the situation becomes the Lord took the situation under the control by changing the heart of the another person, which is overpowering us, or by making some situation like that we need to do anything. So really, if we become humble, then dignity and self-esteem doesn't matter. Or second question, how can we practice humility in home, office, with friends, and amongst relatives? Prabhuji, on the soul platform, we need to understand in the super soul, in the form of the super soul, God is residing in the heart of the everybody. So we need not to make the differences every situation which are coming in front of us because of our karmas and desires, past karma and desires. So we need to give the respect to others, but we need not to take the respect from others. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please forgive me for my mistake.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for wonderful answer. So Prabhuji brought out a lot of points. He brought out the connection of Krishna in our achievements. There was a slide where we said that whatever we have, we there's a question of we have uh, so Prabhuji, Angaraj Prabhuji, you want to raise hand again? Want to speak something?
Sorry, Prabhuji, it was raised sometime
Okay, okay,
before
sure, sure.
while giving the talk.
No problem. So by seeing connection with Krishna, that whatever we have, uh, so our humility is a state of mind, and that comes externally it can be, it can come when we offer respect to people, when we say Hare Krishna to people, when we see devotees we pay obeisances. All that is great, but internal humility comes when we achieve something. If I'm a student, I come first in my class. Now it's very natural for us to feel proud. Oh wow, I'm so great. you know Similarly, when we achieve something, some complete some project in time in office, and everyone praise us, every we get promotion, we get a special reward, uh, everyone start appreciating us, and then it's very natural for us to feel good about ourselves. Now that is the time when we have to remember that we it's good because of good qualities Krishna has given me as a gift. Nothing. So if we forget Krishna at that crunch moment, we will become, will feel, will become, we deserve this, and then that can lead to pride and arrogance. When we don't get something as per our expectation, when we have something negative results coming to us, something goes wrong with the relationships, something goes wrong in our life, in the workplace, in with money, with family members, and then we face a lot of friction, um, a lot of clashes of and quarrels happen, court matters take place, and a lot of difficulties we go through, health side difficulties. We could be hospitalized ourselves, or our loved ones can fall sick, and becomes whole thing becomes a very very suffering kind of a environment for us. And that case also we need to understand that all this is happening with the sanction of Krishna. So we need to maintain ourselves. We need to be humble in success and humble in failure both. Humble in the midst of problems also. By saying like that, by seeing Krishna everywhere, Krishna's hand in everything, we become we become strong. We remain strong that it's all happening with Krishna's mercy. And then when we accept and mitigate, when we act for mitigation, when we act to mitigate, we act with whatever we have to improve the situation. And we can go to any extent to do that. Like Prabhupada was given a challenge that somebody was trying to cheat him, and Prabhupada was humble, but he was not fool. He says, this I can't let this man cheat Krishna's money, take away Krishna's money. This is Krishna's money. The land belongs to Krishna. We want to build Juhu temple in this on this land. So this is service. This is devotional service. And this man is becoming obstacle in me, my our rendering of service to Krishna. I should fight him. And then he fought in legal way, and he became victorious. And he fought in a very ferocious way. He didn't say, okay, let him want to take land, let him take land. Krishna will arrange for some other land. He didn't, he could have said that. But he fought battle. So he didn't, he did whatever he had to do for the service of Krishna. When the fighting also became necessary, he fought very hard. And when that was not required, in general, he was very humble. So that way, we understand that we can maintain our dignity at the same time we can maintain humble attitude, humble state of mind. How can we practice civility at home, office, friends? So all these places pose different challenges to us. A home, we can be, how can we be humble? We can all meditate, think about it, that today, if I start becoming humble, how things will change in my home, how people around me can start perceiving me differently. My nature is something, and if I from tomorrow, today onwards, if I start behaving something else, how what will change? What will happen in my home? Will humility improve my relationships? Will by becoming humble, will it bring more peace of mind for myself? Will it bring more peace in general at home? Will it reduce our clashes with our people at home, our family members? Will it promote loving environment? Will it happen that by seeing me humble and submissive, not arguing unnecessarily on smaller issues, others may also start doing it, and then they start giving they start giving up smaller issues, and in general the environment and the relationship in home can improve. Can that happen? Think about it. Is humility a useful weapon? Then same thing you can extrapolate with office, with our friends, and with our relatives. But home, office are the and the friends, this is where we spend majority of our life. So if you can think of these aspects and then come up with your practical solutions, that what I can change in me so that I can practice more humility in these three places, and what effects it can have in general. Okay, no need to share it with me, but if you want, please feel free to share it with me. I'm always happy and open to see more responses coming, and to understand more about yourself, and about in the process learn more about myself as well. So this is a verse which we focused on. In this verse, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. Because he's humble, he could become devotee. Because he's a devotee, he could surrender. A surrender is not easy. Complete surrender to Krishna is not easy, and it happens at gradual progression of in the bhakti yoga, in devotional service. And bhakti yoga begins only when we have humility. If you have challenging attitude, we will never become devotee. This is the sin. So, humility and surrender will summarize the surrender. We must become humble. Krishna says four type of people come to him: Artho, Artharthi. Artho, the one who are in distress. Artharthi are the ones who need something in exchange, kind of businessman. I'll give you this, you give me that. Jigyasu, inquisitive, and Jnani, the one who are knowledge. One can become, if we can become humble by situation that the Lord may put us into, and may practice bhakti. And if we have practiced bhakti in our previous life, then we understand that such distress condition we will remember Krishna. So it's not easy to in artho, or in distress, when we are in distress condition, it's not always easy to remember Krishna and go to Krishna for solution. um, if we have practiced bhakti in our previous life sufficiently, then only we may remember Krishna in our difficult conditions, and will come to Krishna. Even for material comfort also, but we will come to Krishna. Now that itself, Krishna says those people are also Mahatmas. But so but rather than becoming humbled by difficulties, rather than you know it's okay to remember Krishna when we are in difficulties, but when we are in good condition, then also we should understand Krishna and remember Krishna. When we can do that if we become jnani, jigyasu and jnani. By jnani, by learning Bhagavad Gita, by knowing about Krishna's greatness and his all his prowess, we can become humble. We can see that how we are nothing. Whatever we have, we feel proud of our achievements, but none of those achievements could have been possible without Krishna's help, without Krishna's mercy. So in that sense, we become humble towards Krishna and submissive towards Krishna. Again, advice for surrender comes in multiple verses repeatedly in Bhagavad Gita, quoted 7.14, where Krishna says, "Mam evam ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite." माया के आपको माया क्रॉस करनी है, माया से बाहर आना है, माया से बचना है, तो मुझे सरेंडर कीजिए. Then 8.14 Krishna says, माम उपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुखालय शाश्वतम. जो मेरी शरण लेता है, वो नहीं चाहता कि वो ये दुखालय और अशाश्वत टेम्पररी दुखालय में वापस आए. वो चाहता ही नहीं. जो मेरा शरण ले, वो नहीं चाहता कि मैं दुखालय में वापस आऊंगा. 1866 अगेन, सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य माम एकम शरणम व्रज. मेरा शरण ले लो. वेरी explicitly Krishna is asking him to surrender to Krishna. Another two verses where Krishna says that become, if you become knowledge, with knowledge surrender to me. ऐसे ही नहीं करो कि कोई बोल रहा है इसके लिए करो. Get knowledge about me, learn that knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and then become humble, become surrender to me. True verses, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samannitaha. That I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise Buddha, the wise who perfectly know this, engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Not because they've been given something by Krishna, not because they are convinced about Krishna's greatness and sweetness, and therefore they become immediately submissive towards Krishna. They practice devotional service and then they surrender to Krishna. 15.19 beautiful verse. Yomam eva masam mudho janati purushottamam sa sarva vida bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Another similar verse, that जो जानते हैं कृष्ण को कि ये पुरुष उत्तम पुरुष है, ही इज पुरुषोत्तमम, एंड देन दे वो जानकारी लेके चुप नहीं बैठते हैं. दे सर्व विद भजती माम, पूरे सारे विधि के साथ वो भजन करना शुरू करते हैं. सर्व भावेना, विद ऑल देयर हार्ट दे स्टार्ट वर्शिपिंग कृष्णा, दे बिकम कृष्णा's devotee. To summarize, we should become humble by our own choice with knowledge that we can learn by studying Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, we will be humbled by force of laws of nature, acting under the supervision of Krishna. Kesha Swami Maharaj says there are two type of people in the world. One who by voluntarily, by choice, become humble. Those who are devotees, they study Bhagavad Gita, they study Bhagavatam, and they become humble. And the other type of people, um, those who will be humbled by force of the laws of material nature. Laws of material nature act under the supervision of Krishna. Maya adhyati suyate se characharam, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So they will be eventually humbled time. So it's not easy. That process is lose. Then you have no capacity to amend actions, patience. So uh, Krishna will, if you choose not to, it's not um, very pleasant darshan of Krishna. So go to temple and take Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Madhav, Radha Rani, and pray to him in the humble, in the humble, or such humble. We should the Lord and start learning and implementing instructions in our life under the guidance of devotees. This way, by becoming a devotee, we can make our life successful. Uh, the humility, and surrender in today's session. Seeing examples, the beautiful verse from Chaitanya Chatamrut. We saw the background of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We studied that verse. We studied that uh, examples from Chaitanya Chatamrita, studied Srila Prabhupada life, who demonstrated humility and tolerance in his personal life as well. And we saw how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, when he came to the material world to show as a devotee how a devotee should act, how he demonstrated the same humility and tolerance in this while acting in this world. And then we saw some practical examples how we can implement, how we can understand role in our life and become humble. Not just to become humble is not easy. We are all egoistic people. The world is egoistic. The world teaches us to become egoistic. Greater you are, the greater should be your ego. And this is against the teachings of the world. But this is conducive for bhakti. We cannot become a devotee if we are not humble, if we don't have that humble mood. So we should try to become devotee. Otherwise, we will remain in this world. We will never develop love for Krishna. We will never be able to go back to Krishna. So, with this, we conclude. We saw the verse 2.7 from Bhagavad Gita. And with reference to that, only this background discussion was created to understand that we become with humility, we can practice devotional service, and in that devotional mood, we can surrender to Krishna. So we'll conclude today's session. We'll see if there are any questions that are there with anyone. And otherwise, we will meet next Sunday, hopefully with another beautiful scheme, beautiful theme, beautiful concept from Bhagavad Gita. We'll try and elaborate it with it in greater detail. So we'll pause just to see if there are any questions. Since there are no lecture, there are no questions, let's conclude today's session, and we'll meet next Sunday with another concept from Bhagavad Gita. We'll pick it up and we'll try and elaborate, try and learn more out of that concept together. Until then, have a safe week. This is Bhagavad Gita marathon month, and uh, try to distribute Bhagavad Gita to your loved ones. Bring Bhagavad Gita into their life. Give Krishna in their life. Contribute or do Vidya Dan, purchase some Bhagavad Gita and distribute to your loved ones, or else uh, donate some Lakshmi so that Bhagavad Gita can be distributed to others, and that way participate in the Gita marathon as much as you can. So let's till next Sunday. Let's continue with our devotional service, daily practice of japa, and daily hearing of Krishna Katha from Srimad Bhagavatam at 8:30. Thank you so much everyone for joining. We'll conclude today's session. Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna to everyone.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna
Dandavat
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna
Thank you
Prabhuji,
Panchan
so
Pranam
much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you so
Hare
much,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you
Ram,
so much,
Hare Ram,
Prabhuji.
Ram Ram,
It was
Hare
really
Hare.
awesome lecture.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandapranam.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.